show. Syntax tight, our semicolons in a row. With the AI beats and the database flow. Grab your gear, hit compile and let's go. We're breaking walls in our virtual chateau. With every line we write, our universe will grow. Welcome to the grid where the brave dare to code. Eat, sleep, code, let the systems overload. Sending signals in the neon afterglow.
Go. Hello and welcome to Eat Sleep Code, the official Telerik podcast, where I forgot to turn off the banner so you could see us. We've got a busy news cycle again. A lot of TypeScript news this week. I don't know if you caught the drama on or surrounding all of this stuff, John, but
drama. I like drama.
There was drama. There was a lot of drama, even though there shouldn't have been.
All right.
I mean, you give people good stuff and they still complain, right? Isn't that how life goes anyway?
It's that bit from Louis C.K. Everything's amazing and no one is happy.
Yeah, it goes to space and nobody cares. Mm-hmm. If you know, you know. So TypeScript 10 times faster and everybody's complaining because they didn't use .NET.
Oh,
I know, right? So we'll break that down in a minute. Let's talk about it being 10 times faster first. So Anders and the team over in Microsoft decided to port the TypeScript compiler so they could run Visual Studio Code compilations faster and increase the speed of TypeScript. And the way that they did this is by porting, keyword there, porting, the TypeScript compiler to Go. And if you go through and actually read some of the reasoning behind this, there's threads all over the place now talking about it. They chose Go because I guess there were a lot of similarities in how they were doing things already, and choosing other platforms like Rust or C# or C++ would have been a rewrite rather than a port. So there was a lot of code they could just run through some kind of an analyzer or AI or however they're porting this code over, but porting it was a lot easier than rewriting it from scratch. There are concepts and things that just didn't exist in things like Rust and C#, so they chose to do it in Go. And there's a 10x benefit from this. So you can see the Visual Studio Code speed up by 10.4 times. Playwright, another Microsoft technology, up 10 times. Type ORM, not familiar with that. Assuming by the name of it, it's an ORM for a database running off TypeScript, something like Entity Framework for TypeScript. 13 times, 13 and a half times. I mean, these are decent numbers, right? Nothing to complain about here. But the community wanted to complain that it wasn't C# because why does that matter? I guess from an optics perspective, it matters. People think that Microsoft should dog food a little bit more. I could agree with that, but I think in the scenario, they kind of outlined like this was an easy win compared to rewriting it from scratch. And we get a 10x performance boost by taking a lot of code that we already had and just reusing it in another language.
Right. All right, I have some things to say.
All right, John.
Get ready. You might want to clip this because I'm about to go on a rant.
Uh-oh.
I don't care. Yeah, right. I don't care what language the compiler is written in, nor should you. It doesn't matter. Is it faster? Yes, everyone wins. I can understand the motivation for utilizing C#. Fair enough. But at the end of the day, what matters is speed, right? So if we get a faster tool, great. Now, I've been through this experience myself. I have literally done this myself where we took a C# project and we ported it to Go. We did this with our CLI. I was running the team when we did this. We have an old version of our CLI, which is based on .NET. We decided to create a brand new CLI based on Go for a multitude of reasons. And I know this very well. Go is a great language on its own. It does some things well. It does some things not so well. But it's a great language. Its real power is in its tool set. Its linters, its analyzers, its module management. It also benefits from the fact that its compiler set is fantastic. I mean, when you build stuff on C, the C compiler itself, you're going to benefit. The binaries it generates are super small and super fast. I can speak from experience. Our binary for our CLI went from like 70, 80 megs down to like less than 1. In addition to that, our tool performance went through the roof when we went from .NET to Go. There were no dependencies. Our build script now, when we generate binaries for our Go CLI, we produce everything en masse. We use Go Releaser for this, which is a tool that you can use. We use this, and it generates like 14 different platform types out of the box. No problem. Bang. All the distros you want, all the Linux distros you want, Mac, etc., Windows, not a problem. Okay, the tool set is fantastic with Go. Moreover, when doing a CLI, which is part of a compiler process, Go is a wonderful language for building CLIs. It's got a great community set of libraries available for building CLIs. The tool set for .NET is around CLI development is not as mature in my view, and I took a long time looking at this. So you may have heard we've talked about Charm, for example, which is a TUI terminal UI based library. That's all built in Go. Go is a wonderful, wonderful language because of its support in the library ecosystem around CLI development. So the compiler also has a part of this, which is the front end, which is the command line interface. Most compilers have a CLI last time I checked. So the CLI processing part of this is important. Speed alone is one thing for sure. Binary generation is another thing. You want these binaries to be as small as possible. Why? Because if you're going to use them in an automation context, you don't want to be sitting around waiting for them to download and load and run. You want them to be as fast and as small as possible. So for all these reasons and more, and I could go into a lot of depth around this, I completely understand the motivations for doing this. And I even go as far as say, yes, this is a great thing that they did. They made the right call here, in my view, to Go, because Go, I've been screaming from the hilltops for a long time that Go is a wonderful language for targeting command line interface applications. And it wasn't even built for that. It was built for doing back end.
If you're going to choose between getting a 10x performance boost over, we're not going to do this at all because it's just too much work. I mean, take the win, folks. Like there were, if you go through that thread, it's on GitHub somewhere. It's not even worth really digging into. Sure. I think it says we've written a FAQ to address some questions. It might be in there. But if you dig into the top level of that, like the basis for it was like there were things that just did not exist in C# that we would have to create in order to support this. And the same goes for Rust. And a lot of the code we could just move over and it works in Go. So, you know what I mean? Like they're not going to just burn money for the sake of trying to get some performance value out of this thing. If they could just port it over and get the 10x win much easier.
Who cares what it's built in? Who cares?
A lot
You're
of
still
the
writing TypeScript.
.NET devs were like, well, I guess all my experience in .NET's for nothing now because nobody's ever going to use .NET after today.
Oh,
Like,
shut up. Like that's not the case. Like that's not going to happen. Look, we live in an ecosystem where a large number of languages exist. It's fine. It's heterogeneous. It's fine. It's competition is a good thing. I thought that everyone was about competition, right? This pushes the .NET folks to do better. All right? No problem. That's good.
Yep.
That's fine. For now, you get a faster compiler. What are you complaining about? Like that's my attitude.
They'll find a reason. They always
I
do.
know. Look, I understand the motivations for using C#. I totally understand that. I'm not trying to dismiss that out of. Look, I'm not trying to
by the
backtrack
way.
on this. Yeah.
They should have used Silverlight.
That's right. Look, I'm not saying like I don't understand the motivations. Like I totally get it. Like, but like at the end of the day, I'm not going to look at the source code for this thing if I'm a .NET developer. If it was built in .NET, I'm like, yeah, whatever. There are so many .NET projects you haven't looked at the source code of anyway. Microsoft publishes open source projects all the way. I guarantee all the time. I guarantee you like a large chunk of you have never looked at those repos. So you complaining about, oh, I can't look at the source code or I can't leverage my skill set to contribute. You weren't contributing in the first place. So why do you care? Why not use this as an opportunity to learn Go? Seriously, like round out your tool set. Stop being so, dogmatic and just everything must be C#. Just learn it. Go's not that hard. Like I picked it up in a couple days. It was pretty easy.
You should be as worried about what your compiler is written in as your end users are at what technology stack you use.
Sure. I mean, like, look, if you're a front end dev, you're just being hypocritical. You use a wide range of different languages or scripts or whatever to come up with a solution. So who cares what the compiler's built in? Anyways, I think congrats to the type. Hopefully this works out for them. I am a little skeptical whenever you see 10x improvements. But I can believe it because I've done this myself. I've gone through this experience of we did a .NET application port to Go, and we saw the exact same thing. We saw smaller binaries, faster runtimes, awesome support for CLI generation. This is just for CLI, by the way. This is not like saying, oh, for web dev or anything. It's just for CLI. The tool support for other scenarios in Go is way better than .NET. And that's okay. That's competition. It just means .NET's got to step its game up, which is fine. And that's not a bad thing. That doesn't mean that C# is not a great language. I love C#. It's a great language. That doesn't mean Go's better. Go's got some real problems. Cough, error handling, excuse me. They didn't have generics they didn't have generics until, relatively recently. For the longest time, that was a real, the amount of code I had to duplicate all over the place was crazy. But the tool set is wonderful. Like I said before, the tool set, the binaries again, the compatibility, the cross-plat compilation is fantastic. That's what I love about it.
And a quick shout out to our friend Krista Mars with a birthday. Happy birthday, my friend. Birthday. And then speaking of TypeScript, Node version 23.6 now supports TypeScript. I'm not on the right spot. Where's the thing at?
It's quite the change.
Where's it at? Where is it at? Here, let's go back to this. There we go. How about that? Node 23.6 now runs TypeScript natively. I need to dive into this a little bit more. I'm not quite sure if the word natively is the right word
using something like
being
a
used here.
Babel integration or something equivalent.
I guess they've integrated the compiler possibly into the pipelines. You don't have to run any TSX commands anymore, or TSC commands. So you can just drop your TypeScript file into the application, work in it, make changes to it, not have to recompile it, or not see it be recompiled, not see the files being generated out of it, all of that stuff.
What they're wiring up in terms of tooling. I want that'd be my question. Is like, how are they making this this kind of hang together?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it's being billed as quote native support. So that's nice. I've heard people batting around the idea of the browser doing this as well. So you can just ship your TypeScript files and not have to worry about a compilation step.
Well, you're gonna
S-
have to. You're gonna have to. I don't unless you're utilizing something that I don't know about. You're gonna have to compile at some point. It's just hidden from you.
at some point, yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
mean, you could bury it in the browsers,
Yes.
as they do with JavaScript already. I mean, JavaScript gets turned into
Everything's
bytecode,
buried.
so
Yeah.
everything gets
buried.
turned into something somewhere.
That's right.
But we'll just gloss over the implementation details and say people wanted it.
That's right.
And then a little more news on this same
I was
type
gonna
of
say,
front.
what is this? The Go show? What are we doing?
This is Dagger. It's a cloud service provider. They
Dagger?
replaced
No, Dagger's awesome, dude. I'll tell you a lot about Dagger if you want.
Sure, fill us in.
All right,
I've never used it myself. I just thought their engineering post here was really interesting.
So Dagger, so if you know about Docker, right? So Docker is this idea of running containers.
It works on my machine, ship it.
That's right. So the technology that underpins this, So Dagger is really cool. It's basically this concept of what are called portable pipelines. The idea is that if you use a tool like GitHub Actions or use something like that, you're locked in pretty much into that platform when you define your workflows, right? So if you define GitHub Actions, you define a YAML file, that can only run in one location, which is GitHub, basically. Now, there are tools like Act and stuff that you can do to run it elsewhere, but whatever. What Dagger does is it utilizes this Docker technology to underpin your pipeline. So your build pipeline, etc. When you do build, test, run, a lot of that stuff you have to set up. It's like if you want to move to a different platform, let's say, and this is a very stupid example, but let's say you want to move from, say, GitHub to Circle CI or from Circle CI to TeamCity, for example. You can't just drag and drop or copy and paste or whatever that pipeline file, that YAML file, from one location to the next. And so what Dagger provides is a solution to have those things be portable. So no matter how you define it, it's a sort of abstract way of defining your pipeline so they can run anywhere, basically. And the way they do that is by leveraging this Docker runtime. And so Dagger has been quietly making sort of steps towards popularity. It's kind of been lurking in the shadows. I mean, they've been public, but I've been a big fan of these guys because I think it's a great concept, this idea of portable pipelines. And so I guess now they're replacing their front end with Go and WebAssembly. Is that what I'm reading here?
Yeah, so this is their web front end. They were using React, and they decided to use what is akin to like a Blazor solution. That if you're not familiar with Blazor, that's C# and HTML running in the browser via WebAssembly instead of using JavaScript. So this is doing the same thing with Go. So it's using Go and WebAssembly to make interactive web pages in the browser. So they went and moved their whole website over to this. And this is the first customer-facing site that I've heard of using this technology. There may be others out there. I've heard of this Go plus WebAssembly solution. There's a Rust one as well. So whether they're taking inspiration from Blazor itself or just great minds think alike, there's different web frameworks coming out with this WebAssembly style of code base. So you don't have to write JavaScript anymore to do web applications. So they go through like why they chose Go for many of the same reasons that you talked about earlier. And they have a nice summary of all the different things that they went through, their prototyping phase, what benefits they got out of it, and should you do it. So I thought it was a nice engineering post, and they kind of pulled the covers back on what they did with their own front-facing website. I thought that was good. And I lost your video, John. I don't know.
I'm still here.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
All right. Just making sure you're still.
I was running Go to run my webcam. What do you want?
There you go.
I'm kidding.
And if anybody's following me on the Twitters, like I started up the show and I got while we're talking about cameras, I got a notification from Windows that I could use my camera for StreamYard from my phone. I wasn't even like hardwire connected or anything. It just picked it up off Bluetooth, and it's like, hey, you have an Android phone. You're already signed in with PhoneLink. do you want to stream your camera via StreamYard?
Yeah,
And I'm like, that's awesome. I don't have to go through the setup of connecting things and running OBS and all this anymore. And it worked for about 30 seconds until my screen locked.
There you go.
So I'm
Love
like,
it.
well, that's a fun feature. That
What's
would have
Theo
been
talking
nice.
about?
All right. So Theo's talking about is Tailwind. Chris, if you're still here, feel free to chime in and chat. I know how much you love Tailwind. He's reluctantly talking about Tailwind as well, saying that Tailwind is basically the new default CSS.
Oh,
And what's happening, and I agree with him here, is like you go into any of these coding AI assistants and you do any kind of HTML, like the AI, there's so many people using Tailwind that the AIs are like, this is what everybody does, so I'm going to give you
Right.
Tailwind code.
yeah.
So it's kind of this self-feeding loop, this thermal runaway of we have Tailwind now, we're stuck with Tailwind now. And the only reason to get away from it is to specifically like write the code yourself or tell your co-pilots that you don't want to use it. So it's kind of like this de facto standard. And he talks a bit about reasons he doesn't like Tailwind. I share a lot of the same points of view on it. Like
Okay.
I get why it's there. It's helpful in certain scenarios and stuff, but did we make the right choice? Is this what we really wanted AI to do? Is like just give us Tailwind whether we like it or not.
Are you advocating vanilla CSS here? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of these utility frameworks, and they're good for prototyping and things.
Sure.
They make sharing code easier. I think that's why a lot of it catches on. And I think that's why AI is so good with it, is because it takes the context switching out. So everything is in HTML. So you're not back and forth between CSS and HTML, and you don't have to make those connections together of this piece of CSS goes with this HTML element because it's all embedded in the same document. Makes it easy to copy and paste out of documentation into something that you can see and realize quickly. So there's some benefits there as far as like when these things get big and bloated, and then that kind of goes for anything though, right? If it gets big and bloated, it gets hard to maintain. End of story.
Yep.
So that's where this video is at. I thought it was an interesting take, and it's something I've been talking about for a while with all the AI training stuff. Like if you look on GitHub and you see all of the code that's out there, like you can see like there's going to be a lot of language training on JavaScript. There's going to be a lot on TypeScript. There's going to be a lot on CSS, but even more on Tailwind. You kind of get these feedback loops you get stuck in where the AI just keeps regurgitating the same things all the time. So we'll see where that goes. It's going to be one of those things we have to watch and wait and see what happens.
Yes.
AI firms follow DeepSeek lead to create cheaper models with distillation. This was just something I thought was interesting. With DeepSeek, it kind of disrupted the AI companies, and more people are aiming to do this, where they're using a model to train a model. They're doing distillation instead of training a brand new model from scratch, and the market's all over the place now. But on the bright side, I don't know if you've noticed this, John, but the prices for doing these things are coming down drastically.
Really? You think so? I thought they were going up.
The price for running AI is getting cut because of the amount of change that's going on and competition from all parts of the world with China and DeepSeek and was it Alibaba and their AI and ByteDance and
perhaps
and
we
their
should,
stuff.
I was just going to say, perhaps we should define some terms here, like what distillation is for folks who don't realize it. So It's basically this idea of using a large model to train a smaller model. So that I think the terminology they use is student, teacher and student. What it does, it reduces your overall expenses basically, and so it gives you some wins. DeepSeek was the big one because this one exploded out on the scene. You'll remember they were like, "Oh, we built this
Yeah.
for 5 million." Everyone was like, "What?" So that was
Yeah.
kind of how that came about. In contrast, there are teams. I want to say UC Berkeley that have
Mhm.
trained models for under $1,000, which is crazy. So and
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those standing on the shoulder of giants type scenarios where the work's been done, the hard stuff's been kind of forged in stone, and then you're standing on top of it, building something else based on all of the hard work that was done by your previous, builder. But if you also have to look at the markets in different countries as well. So there, the big tech companies in China were like, what's the name of the Ant is one of them. I'm trying to remember the parent company of these things. But there's Ant, Alibaba, and ByteDance, and out of nowhere comes DeepSeek. It wasn't like one of the big companies, right? It's like, think of like Google and Microsoft and Facebook, and then out of nowhere comes like a large language model onto the market that's cheaper than everybody else. So what it did over there is it slashed prices over there, which in turn cut prices here.
This is what our industry does. We build. I mean, it's this constant just pushing each other down and trying to get to the top of the pile, basically. So
basic competition, capitalist type markets.
Now the risk here, of course, is that obviously there's going to be some reinforcement of possibly some error-prone situations, I would say. So gotta be careful of that. But we'll see where it goes.
And then speaking of DeepSeek, they have a file system, I guess, that's now disrupting things in China. So they have a new 3FS file system that can hit 7.3 terabytes aggregate read throughput on its server data clusters. I don't know how that compares, but it sounds impressive. But I guess this is another, this is the follow-up from DeepSeek, is they're now disrupting other markets with different technologies. So we'll see where this goes next. So we're looking at data throughput, which is a big part of machine learning, right? In AI is data throughput. So that was more news from the AI front. And then I thought this was interesting. One of my kids came home one day and they said that their teacher made them handwrite an essay so they couldn't use it. They couldn't use like a AI generated report. And I'm like, first of all, you could just copy it off the screen. So you're just slowing them down. You're not making it so they can't cheat. You're just slowing them down. But this was great. It says a student from India designed an AI machine that writes his homework like his own handwriting. So now all bets are off. Make me handwriting.
Give this
ahead.
guy a job. Come on.
Give
this
him
guy
a job.
Yes. You should
Not
you
only
should
does
be in
it
school.
write,
If you're doing this in school, you should be going immediately to the tech industry. My God, this is awesome.
Not only does it handwrite a paper, it handwrites it in his handwriting.
Yeah.
So what's the teacher? What's the teacher going to say now?
Yeah.
I love that it's using one of those little fans.
Why is he stuck in school? You can go immediately into the industry if you have this sort of experience and wherewithal and gumption. Sorry, I'm using some 1930s terms now. This kid's got a lot of moxie.
I love the mini fan that comes in and sucks on the page to pull it. But this reminds me of me.
This just shows you how broken our education system is. This sort of get everyone seated down in a classroom and just pump their brain full of knowledge like a jelly donut, and just you will write this down in a ring binder. Like oh God, you know, like we're better than this. Come on, you know, you got people who are doing things like this. This is amazing. This is awesome.
It is.
If I was this guy's teacher, I would immediately say, look, you passed the course.
You passed. Don't bother
Let's
coming
put
in.
you in robotics. This is like the do not pass. This is like collect $200 sort of card in Monopoly. If you do something like this on your own volition, you should immediately be just escorted into the tech industry. Like, please, we need people like you.
Yeah. This reminds me of when I was in school and I was taking electronics and I hacked the TI-83 calculator so I could put code on it that could calculate all of the circuitry values so I didn't have to do it by hand. And I was like, I'd finish exams in like 3 minutes that were supposed to take hours. I was walking out of like final exams in 10 minutes with completed like the entire thing done. And like these were like 2 to 4 hour exams.
Don't hate the player.
You know? My teacher did not ask questions. He was just like, I don't know. He had his calculator. He wrote the values down. He didn't ask if I was cheating. Never
when
batted
teachers get
an
upset
eye.
like that, that's their ego involved, in my opinion. I'm like, I look at that. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. You played within the rules and you found a loophole. Great. Let's now, here's like, that teacher should be working their butt off to try and connect that student with someone they know in the industry. Like, let's get this kid a job right now, because it's not like we're overwhelmed with a lot of smart people out there. We need as many smart people fixing the world's problems as possible. So someone like this comes along, I'm like, get this guy a job now, you know? So
have you been watching the vibe coding trend, John?
No. What's this?
So this is like a lot of this is sponsored, by the way. If you look deep enough and follow the money, there's these influencers that are using AI tools to. In a weekend, I made a game, and it looks like Microsoft Flight Simulator, and all I did is typed in these 5 prompts. This has been a trend, but this was like this guy or person was creating a flight simulator.
Okay.
And they were using, I think this one was Cursor, and they were talking about like how they wanted to make like a combat simulator, and like it was ignoring some of the instructions around creating projectiles. It's like it doesn't want you to make missiles because I guess that was like a banned word or something.
Oh,
okay. But this post was funny because he put this out online, and then it made it multiplayer. So it was like this multiplayer, you know, like super massive like flight simulator with lots of people jumping on the web and joining and playing along. And then all of a sudden these alien triangles showed up and started shooting at people, and he couldn't figure out where the alien triangles were coming from. So what had happened is there were status messages that were created by the AI coding prompt that he put in. And like the readout, for example, that's being shown here, and scores and things like that. These are HTML panels that are being displayed, and this is all being done in 3JS. So I guess somebody put a JavaScript injection hack into one of these displays that injected its own code. And he brought it up here. And he's like, here's the malicious code that's being injected. And they injected this code.
I love it.
And
I love it.
When it executed, it created all of these alien triangles that would go around and kill everyone.
Yes. Look,
So
I'm not saying hacking is good, but like it's meant to be a fun thing. And if I was the guy who was writing, I'd be like, no, that's hilarious. That's funny.
Yeah.
So always filter your inputs. Never trust your input.
Well, I mean, first of all, he trusted AI generated code for this platform. So he didn't even know, like, it wasn't something he was thinking about. It was just like the AI was like, all right, we're going to use HTML to display the score because, you're on the web and that's the native thing to do.
Oh,
and then somebody was like, it's doing a JavaScript, document.eval here. So I'm just going to, whatever this outputs a score or my name or whatever value it was, the user was able to put in there. He's like, I'm going to load this script.
Yeah.
And then it took over the game and started killing everybody.
The amount of hacks, it's like, it's so true. I think of the necessity is the mother of invention. It is so true. There are so many hacks out there. Not even like funny hacks like this. Like there are real world serious hacks that we have to do. I remember hearing this expression by Don Box of Microsoft a long time ago. He said, whenever faced with a problem, we do as God intended. We hack. So we hack our way to a solution, and this is a brilliant example of that.
That one was fun. I enjoyed reading that one. I was like, that
Yes.
is so web and so
Yes.
cool at the same time.
Yes, it's very good. I like that.
Let's see here. Introducing support for SLNX there's probably a way to say that that's fancier than reading it out. Slinks.
I don't know.
A new simple solution file format for .NET CLI. What is this?
Yeah. Well, I love I don't know about you, Ed, but I love solution files. They're the greatest thing ever invented. They're so stable and so robust, and they're really well thought out, and they really, I mean, it's like if YAML and I don't know, some random text file had a baby. I'm not a huge fan, obviously. So basically, this is a new mechanism that's provided. I think to a large extent this is much needed, but basically now what you can do is you can migrate your solution files. It's available through the CLI. So you'll do a command that will migrate your solution files into an XML based solution file.
Okay.
They finally saw the light, and they decided, hey, these indentation sort of ways of describing solutions is probably not the best way. So now with the CLI, the .NET CLI in particular, we have the ability of doing this. Many other tools in the ecosystem have basically partial or no support for this format, so it's going to be a while. The body may reject the organ, so to speak, but yeah, it may take a while. But the new format is a welcome addition. I think that this is long overdue, and I don't know why they waited so long to fix this, but there you go.
Like, didn't we try doing this with JSON, or was that a different file format?
Yeah, that was the old. Remember when
.NET file format?
.NET Core, yeah, .NET Core came out. They tried to do it with JSON, and I don't know what happened there. They just kind of gave up. They're like, yeah, we couldn't make it work. I'm like, okay, fair enough.
I think there was a lot of legacy stuff people didn't want to give up. I think it broke backwards compatibility of some things.
Sure.
And that was like the final nail.
Yep.
This is really cool. I don't know how I missed this. I'm glad you brought this one up. .NET AI template now available in preview. And this, like a lot of the file new project templates in VS, gives you a starting point of building like a Copilot-like chatbot.
Yep.
And
so you'll download this as an extension and run it through the .NET new command, and it will spit out for you a AI chat-based application that is reasonable. That actually works quite well. And
it looks like it has RAG included.
Yep.
So you can upload documents to it, and it will scan those and answer questions on it.
Yep.
This is something I need to check out because it's something I'm building.
You're building it yourself? Well done.
Yeah. So I'm going to try and see if I can find a video of it because I don't have it running on this machine. It's running on my laptop right now.
Okay.
So I'll show you what I've been building. It's actually very similar to what we just showed. And why is it asking me to log
Microsoft? In? Damn it.
Why does it want me to log in? I'm not. It's on my local machine.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's try. I sent it to somebody here. There we go. This one will work. So I need to do another screen share. Bear with me. So
this is Ed tap dancing.
Yeah. I've got. All right. This is the chatbot I'm working on, and this is a feature I just added today that I'm trying to explore. But I've got the whole conversational bit down with speech to text, text to speech. You probably won't see that in their demo, but I don't have RAG in mine yet. So I'm excited to see what they did with RAG. Let me know if audio comes through.
Not here. Nope. Nothing. Nothing.
So hopefully you're able to hear that, but
Nope.
oh, okay. All right. It's saying basically what's on the screen. And the voice is shown in the, the wave format or whatever you want to call it. The synthesis is shown in the box, so you can see that it's speaking, and you can have a full conversation back and forth with it. And this is all written in .NET, Blazor, Telerik UI, and it can do some interesting things that are specific to this application. Like in this example, it's able to navigate through the UI. So there's some demos that are in here, and you can just ask it to go view one of the demos. And right here, it said, like, I can help you navigate the app. Do you want to go to a different page? And then it lists out the pages that you're able to view.
Right.
And then you just say navigate to whatever page I want to view, and then it does the work for you. Boom, there it is. Boom. So it's doing some tool calling for that, some other interesting stuff. But I've had to build that all from scratch. And then now there's a template that gets you probably about 80% of the way there. So I'm going to look at that and see see if I missed any best practices, or I also need to get some RAG stuff working in there.
Yes.
So the hard part, getting those workflows right, the text to speech, the speech to text, listening to the device to get a recording of the audio, formatting it, sending it to the cloud, all of that stuff back and forth. There's a lot of handshaking going on in that thing.
Yeah.
So it's been an interesting side project.
There you go.
But we'll have to ship that out when it's done. Like I said, it's using all the Telerik bits, so there's some unsanctioned Telerik UI stuff in there that I need to get an okay from, the right disclaimer around before I ship it.
That's all right.
Yeah, there's some special effects and things that are not part of products we offer, not supported. So, as I've always done with our stuff, you gotta get an R&D somewhere, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So you may or may not see some of those things show up in a product at some point. All right, John, that's all we've got for today. But
awesome.
Let's make sure you go check out that preview, and if you have any interesting AI things that you're working on, ping me. Let me see demos of what you're doing. I'd love to check it out. Any last words, John?
No. Just if anyone cares, we recovered from the cyclone, so everything is fine. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you had that
bit of a cyclone down here, so that's why I was a little bit messed up last week. I was not able to stream.
Yeah, it's been a rough year for weather. We've had our fair share of it in the States as well. So glad you're okay and everything seems to be all right.
Yep.
All right, everybody, take care, and thank you for showing up and watching this stream. And we'll see you next week.